Hi, I'm Brian Anderson, Programs Director for Supporting Adoption and Foster Families Together, otherwise known as SAFFT. You may or may not be aware of this, but the American family is under attack. 58,000 children in the state of Georgia will be subject to some form of maltreatment, otherwise known as child abuse and neglect. 1 in 4 girls, or 1 in 6 boys, will be subject to some sort of sexual abuse by the time they are age 18. Over 125 women were killed last year in the state of Georgia due to domestic violence incidences. And 40% of those cases, children were actually witnessing those acts. There is a crisis in our community, and all of those stats I just said are here local to our community and in the state of Georgia. Don't just take it from me. Let's hear from some of the professionals and the stakeholders who work here in your community and work with these situations and these families every day.
The major issues I see with families that come before this court that are in crisis is, frankly, poverty. We see parents in chaos, we see families in chaos that leads to the poverty, the loss of jobs, homelessness, and other issues, inability to get their children to school or meet their children's basic needs. At the core of that are parents who are addicted to drugs. Everything from methamphetamine is big in the North Georgia area, even to alcohol and marijuana. Anything and everything in between we have to deal with, and that's one of the major issues that we have to overcome if we're really going to break the cycle that caused these families to become in crisis and stay in crisis.
Neglect and abuse for a child is devastating, and it's devastating too when the child is removed from the home, even if the reason that they are removed is so horrific, like a sexual abuse or a physical abuse. That removal also creates trauma.
Well, I think that domestic violence not only has a direct impact on our community with folks that are charged with criminal offenses for domestic violence, and also dealing with those issues when we deal with divorces and that sort of thing. But domestic violence has a long-lasting impact. I think oftentimes we see people who are charged with domestic violence that it's obvious that that's a learned behavior, that they observed that in their past, and that is how they have learned to deal with situations. And it's unfortunate, but it is a cycle. And so we see father, subsequently we see son charged with similar offenses doing the similar type things, and we've got to find a way to break that cycle.
What a child learns as they're growing up tends to be what they teach when they are grown. So it's very clear that there is a generational issue. You have to treat the entire family. You can't just treat the child.
Yeah, I know it sounds pretty bad, but the good news is that there are true solutions in our community for these problems. Let's take SAFFT for instance. SAFFT is an organization that really cares about helping the family and the children in crisis. We start with providing safe and supervised visitation services for families so that they can actually have quality but safe visitations with their children. We also provide parenting classes, Christian life coaching services for families in crisis. We provide a resource closet for foster families. We really are always about building up the family, whether it's in crisis or the family that is considered the caregiver, which could be a foster family or adoptive family. We provide scholarships for the children, and we provide a supportive network for the caregivers to really feel like they have someone and an organization to go to when they have needs. It's so great that we have all of this support, but we also have a long list of partners that are helping as well. We have the juvenile and superior court system, judges that truly are making a difference in our community. We have partners like CASA and DFACS. We also have other nonprofit organizations such as Mentor Me, domestic violence shelters such as NOAA and Family Haven. And we also have organizations such as Family Connections or Community Connections. They're all making a difference, and there's a long list of these organizations that are truly contributing their time and their talents to make a difference in our community. Here is what just a few of them have to say.
the biggest advantages of having a visitation center and having the other services that SAFFT offers is we have the ability to do things during non-working hours. After 5 in the evening, on weekends, when other government buildings are not open to do things in. Unfortunately, we've had many people killed nationwide and in this state and even in this very county because of interactions between parents when they were exchanging kids for visitation.
The community really needs the resources that SAFFT brings. One, for the visitation center, so that we have a safe place where families can visit their children in a home-like environment. It also allows CASAs to step behind the mirror and observe that visitation so that they can provide that information to the judge when making recommendations about that child's best interest. And they can do that in a way that's not disruptive to the family.
The SAFFT House will be the first opportunity that the court is given to actually feel comfortable in directing that visitation, which must be supervised, will occur at a location where it will be a successful visitation. I hate to say that after 20 years on the bench, I've not been able to accomplish that yet. And that's why we're so excited about the SAFFT House and what it will provide to our area, because it will assure the children are well protected, well taken care of during the supervised visitation. We'll be able to bond and have a nurturing relationship and visit with a parent, while at the same time there'll be many resources that will perhaps quietly but effectively direct the parent so that in the future we don't have to have that supervised visitation. And that will be to everybody's benefit.
We've worked with SAFFT and supporting adoptive and foster families together, and we've been able to work with them to develop a visitation center, and which is something that was much needed, because when the continuum of the family is disrupted for some reason, we need to be working with all members of the family to get that continuum back on track.
One of the issues that Forsyth County is facing right now is we do not have enough foster families in the community. And to have something like SAFFT, to me is it's a great program, and we need more programs like that to help us find foster families in Forsyth County.
Okay, so you might be asking yourself, what is my role? Either in the cause of the problem or in the solution. How can I get involved? Well, I'm really glad you asked. There are a lot of ways to help the families in your community right now. You can be a foster parent, you can be an adoptive family. There are hundreds of children right here in the state of Georgia that need a loving adoptive family to actually take one of these children in and treat them like their own. You can also do simple things like dropping by and being a volunteer at SAFFT. Your community of Forsyth, Hall County, Dawson County, and our neighboring counties all desperately need your help. There are so many different volunteer opportunities in this community, not just with SAFFT, but with all the partners that we mentioned.
Well, we need your time, talents, and treasure. We could use volunteers. I know that the domestic violence shelters like Noah's Ark and Gateway can always use volunteers, both to serve as mentors and counselors for the ladies that go to those centers, but also to work in some of their fundraising efforts like in the thrift shop and those kinds of things. We need your treasure. The SAFFT Center needs funding, and it would be great if people can contribute to that effort to make sure that that center stays viable past the federal funding that will run out one day. We also need people's talents. There are people who have specific talents that could be helpful in these things, such as someone could be a mentor for a child, not directly tied to domestic violence, but many of the children who are struggling in school because their home life is so tumultuous could use a mentor in their school. You can volunteer to be a CASA, a guardian ad litem, many things that could be helpful for these children and parties who are wrapped up in domestic violence.
One, we're always looking for foster families in Forsyth County. If that is too big of a commitment for a family, we're always looking for mentors, mentor me. There are other just day volunteer programs. They can go to our website, which is handsonforsyth.org. We've always got volunteer opportunities that are listed on our website, and there are plenty of opportunities for people to just get involved, whether it's just, spending a day at the school, or, like I said, mentoring for 30 minutes a week.
What you're doing and what your support would mean for that family is also building a better community. When we have strong families, we have a stronger community. So when you're supporting SAFFT, when you're supporting CASA, when you're supporting these community partners that are working with these families in needs, you are creating a stronger fabric for our community.
I am truly grateful for what SAFFT is in our community, and the people that work there lead from the heart, have a true passion for an equal passion for the kids that they care for and the families that are involved. And it's a wonderful place to bring healing to broken families.
The community can get involved by, first of all, supporting organizations that support fostering. There's many nonprofit organizations like SAFFT that simple donations, whether it's dropping off merchandise or supporting them with financial help, or supporting them with your hours, that is the first and easiest way anybody can support fostering.
SAFFT is the epitome of the adage, it takes a village to raise a child. And it really does take a village to raise a child. So we need the community to be actively involved, to work with these families in order to help them come back together and be a fully functioning family again.
It truly does take a village to raise a child. We believe that's a powerful statement. So we're asking you to get involved. Give SAFFT a call. You can contact us by our website at www.safft.org. You can call us at 770-886-9505, or you can drop us an email at info@safft.org. You heard from one of our important stakeholders that you can contribute your time, your talents, or your treasures. We're asking for just one of those today. Get involved, contact us, and make a difference.